Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. This video gonna be very helpful to you because we will learn how to read English correctly. So let's get started. A visit to Cambridge. This is the story of a meeting between two extraordinary people, both of them differently abled. Stephen Hawking, an astrophysicist who suffers from a form of paralysis that confines him to a wheelchair and allows him to speak only by punching buttons on a computer. Firdaus Kanga, a writer and a journalist who lives and works in Mumbai. Kanga was born with brittle bones and, like Hawking, moves around in wheelchair. Cambridge was my metaphor for England, and it was strange that when I left it, I had become altogether something else because I had met Stephen Hawking there. It was on a walking tour through Cambridge that the guide mentioned Stephen Hawking, poor man, who is quite disabled now, though he is a worthy successor to Isaac Newton, whose chair he has at the university. And I started because I had quite forgotten that this most brilliant and completely paralyzed astrophysicist, the author of A Brief History of Time, one of the best sellers ever, lived here. When the walking tour was done, I rushed to a phone booth and almost tearing the cord so it could reach me outside, phoned Stephen Hawking's house. There was his assistant on the line, and I told him I had come in a wheelchair from India. Perhaps he thought I had propelled myself all the way. To write about my travels in Britain, I had to see Professor Hawking. Even 10 minutes would do, half an hour, he said, from 3:30 to 4. And suddenly I felt weak all over. Growing up disabled, you get fed up with people asking you to be brave as if you have a courage account on which you are too lazy to draw a check. The only thing that makes you stronger is seeing somebody like you achieving something huge. Then you know how much is possible and you reach out further than you ever thought you could. I haven't been brave, said his disembodied computer voice the next afternoon. I have had no choice. Surely, I wanted to say, living creatively with the reality of his disintegrating body was a choice, but I kept quiet because I felt guilty every time I spoke to him, forcing him to respond. There he was, tapping at the little switch in his hand, trying to find the words on his computer with the only bit of movement left to him, his long pale fingers. Every every so often his eyes would shut in frustrated exhaustion. Exhaustion means extremely tired. And sitting opposite him, I could feel his anguish. Anguish means anger. The mind buoyant with thoughts. Buoyant means filled. The mind filled with thoughts that came out in frozen phrases and sentences stiff as corpses. A lot of people seem to think that disabled people are chronically unhappy. I said, I know that that's not true myself. Are you often laughing inside? About 3 minutes later, he responded, I find it amusing when people patronize me. Amusing means delighting. And do you find it annoying? Annoying means disturbing. And do you find it annoying when someone like me comes and disturb you in your work? The answer flashed, yes. Then he smiled his one-way smile, and I knew, without being sentimental or silly, that I was looking at one of the most beautiful men in the world. A first glimpse of him is shocking because he is like a still photograph, as if all those pictures of him in magazines and newspapers have turned three-dimensional. Then you see the head twisted. Then you see the head twisted sideways into a slump, the torso shrunk inside the pale blue shirt, the vested legs. You looked at his eyes, which can speak still, and they are saying something huge and urgent. It is hard to tell what, but you are shaken because you have seen something you never thought could be seen. What do you think is the best thing about being disabled? I had asked him earlier. I don't think there is anything good about being disabled. I think, I said, you do discover how much kindness there is in the world. Yes, he said. It was a disadvantage of his voice synthesizer that it could convey no inflection, no shades or tone, and I could not tell how enthusiastically he agreed with me. Every time I shifted in my chair and turned my wrist to watch the time, I wanted to make every one of our 30 minutes count. I felt a huge relief and exhilaration in the possibilities of my body. How little it mattered then that what I would never walk or even stand. I told him how he had been an inspiration beyond cliche for him. Cliche means old thing. And surely for others, cliche for me, and surely for others. Did that thought help him? No, he said. And I thought how foolish I was to ask. When your body is a claustrophobic room, claustrophobic means fear of closed spaces. When your body is a claustrophobic room and the walls are growing narrower day by day, it doesn't do much good to know that there are people outside smiling with admiration to see you breathing still. Is there any advice you can give disabled people? Something that might help make life better? They should concentrate on what they are good at. They should concentrate on what they are good at. The half hour was up. I think I have annoyed you enough, I said, grinning. Thank you for. I touched his shoulder and wheeled out into the summer evening. Firdaus Kanga from Heaven on Wheels. So today we have done English reading practice with correct pronunciation. I hope this video will prove very helpful to you. For this type of more content, do like, share and subscribe my channel and stay tuned for another important video. Thank you for watching.